In a dimension just sideways of yours, across the shattered fringes of time, one show dares to beam in the wildest, weirdest, and most dangerous tales ever told. From the smoking craters of dead moons and the hearts of sentient stars. These aren't your grandpa's sci-fi stories. So buckle in, because reality's about to take a coffee break. Starplanet One Shots is up next, only on Starplanet Darkside.
Greetings, true champions of the cause. Welcome to Starplanet One Shots. I am your host, the tenebrous Arius. In today's episode, we will be showcasing a science fiction sword and sorcery story from the universe 1983, featuring the classic 1930s pulp character, Taylia Bane. The final night of the metallic ghost, a Taylia tale, was first published in Stories of Science and Sorcery by Ace Books in 1981, and later reimagined in comic book form by Heavy Metal magazine later that year. Now, dear travelers, let's begin. The alien landscape stretched out endlessly under the cover of night, a realm of haunting beauty and eerie silence. The sky above was a deep, impenetrable black, studded with countless stars that twinkled like distant beacons of hope and mystery. Their cold light cast a faint, otherworldly glow over the terrain, illuminating the harsh features of this desolate world. In the distance, a range of jagged mountains loomed, their peaks sharp and unforgiving, silhouetted against the star-studded sky. These mountains, formed by forces unknown to human understanding, seemed to reach out towards the heavens, their rugged beauty a testament to the raw power of nature. Some peaks were capped with glistening crystalline formations that shimmered like diamonds in the starlight, while others were dark and foreboding, cloaked in shadows. The ground was a barren expanse of cracked and parched earth, interspersed with patches of strange, iridescent flora that seemed to glow faintly in the darkness. These alien plants, with their bioluminescent properties, added a surreal touch to the landscape, their soft light pulsating gently as if breathing. The air was thin and crisp, carrying a faint metallic scent that hinted at the presence of minerals and other elements. Scattered across this desolate landscape were the remnants of ancient structures, their origins and purposes lost to time. Some were simple monoliths, their surfaces etched with indecipherable symbols, while others were more complex, resembling temples or fortresses. They added an air of mystery and melancholy to the already haunting scene, a reminder of the passage of time and the inevitable decay of all things. The silence of the desolate alien landscape was abruptly shattered. A tall, red-haired woman, her fierce beauty amplified by the moonlight, stood beside a battered star chariot. She was dressed in a metallic breastplate that covered her large breasts, an animal skin loincloth hanging low on her hips, and furred red boots that reached her knees. A sword hung from her left hip, its blade glinting ominously in the dim light. She slammed the access panel of her power crystal compartment shut with a resounding clang. "Shithag!" she yelled, her voice echoing through the stillness. Taylia Bane's power crystal was depleted, leaving her stranded and unable to take off. Moments earlier, she had been forced to land due to the failing power, a mechanical problem that must be draining the battery, she thought to herself. The situation was dire, and she needed a solution fast. Her star chariot was no sleek, pristine vessel. This was a warhorse, a seasoned survivor of countless conflicts and near-death experiences. The hull of the starcraft was a patchwork of scorched metal and hastily applied repairs, each scar telling a story of near misses and desperate maneuvers. The original paint, a deep, defiant crimson, was now a faded memory, chipped away to reveal the raw silver skeleton beneath. Each patch, each burn mark, was a testament to battles fought and survived. The cockpit, though small and confined, was the heart of this battered beast. The canopy was a spiderweb of fractures, held together by sheer will, and a hope that the next hit wouldn't shatter it completely. Inside, the pilot's seat was worn and torn, the leather cracked from years of service. The controls, an intricate dance of switches and levers, bore the marks of countless frantic hands. Some buttons had been replaced by makeshift toggles, others stuck in place by hasty welding, each alteration a story of survival. The engine, a marvel of engineering in its prime, now emitted a low, throaty growl when running, a sound that spoke of tiredness and resilience. It still had the power to propel its master through the void, but each burst of speed was a strain, a gamble against the odds of survival. The thrusters were blackened, their nozzles dented and uneven, the result of too many close calls. Across its wings and fuselage, gouges and pockmarks from laser blasts and shrapnel were a testament to the ship's endurance. Here and there, patches of mismatched plating covered the worst of the damage, secured with bolts and prayers. The landing gear, when extended, creaked in protest, a sound that echoed the weariness of the entire vessel. Taylia ran her hand through her long, flowing red hair, frustration evident in her every movement. She knew she had to find a way to recharge the power crystal, or identify and fix the mechanical issue that was causing the drain. She surveyed her surroundings, looking for any signs of resources. She takes a deep breath and reopens the panel. Determined, Taylia began to assess the power crystal. The intricate mechanism, once a reliable source of propulsion, now seemed more like a temperamental beast. She pulled out a diagnostic tool from her belt and connected it to the crystal's interface, hoping to pinpoint the issue. The screen flickered to life, displaying a series of readings that confirmed her suspicion, a significant energy drain from an unidentified source. She moved around the star chariot, inspecting every inch of the vessel for signs of the problem. Her mind raced with possible solutions, each more complicated than the last. Despite her best efforts, Taylia eventually came to accept that she had no choice but to journey back to the colony she had left an hour ago, on foot. The realization weighed heavily on her. If she could only reach the chariot smith there, he would surely be able to diagnose and fix the star chariot's issues. With a resigned sigh, she closed the panel of her star chariot and pulled out a few essential items from the cockpit. Just behind the cockpit, she opened another panel, accessing more tools and a supply of water she would need for the journey. Each movement was precise and deliberate, her experience evident in the way she handled the equipment. She connected a strange-looking crystal to the chest of her breastplate. This crystal was ancient and encased in intricate machinery. Its flat, translucent surface emitted a faint glow. She vividly recalled the perilous adventure that had led her to the crystal. The journey had been fraught with danger, but nothing compared to the challenge of the colossal robotic guardian. It was a giant of metal and circuitry, a fearsome adversary whose relentless pursuit tested her resolve and skill to their absolute limits. The crystal was said to provide protection and enhance her combat abilities, a relic from a long-forgotten era. As she secured the crystal in place, memories from earlier that day flooded back. She recalled the old woman who hosted the colony's inn. Her voice had been full of caution as she recounted the legend of a metallic ghost that wandered the wastelands. Shrouded in a tattered black cloak, it was said to stalk and kill anyone who laid eyes upon it, or that it laid eyes upon. With a swift and precise blast of magic, it would cut down its victims without mercy. Taylia raised an eyebrow at the thought, then shrugged her shoulders. She was no stranger to danger and folklore. Such tales were part of the territory when you lived on the edge of known space. She pushed a button on her belt, activating the Star Chariot's locking mechanism. The old tub of bolts wasn't likely to attract any thieves, but it was better to be safe than sorry. She took a final glance at the battered Star Chariot, its weary frame a testament to countless battles and desperate escapes. Then, with determination in her stride, she set off into the Wasteland. The alien landscape was harsh and unforgiving. The ground beneath her boots was uneven, a mix of cracked earth and patches of bioluminescent flora that glowed softly under the starlight. The wind whispered through the desolate terrain, carrying with it the faint, metallic scent that characterized this moon. Taylia moved with the grace and confidence of a seasoned warrior. Her senses were on high alert, every sound and shadow scrutinized for potential threats. She knew the journey would be perilous. The Wasteland was home to many dangers, both natural and unnatural. As she walked, her thoughts drifted to the legend of the metallic ghost. She couldn't help but wonder if there was any truth to the old woman's tale. Hours passed, each step bringing her closer to the colony. The mountains in the distance seemed to shift and change with the light, their peaks a constant reminder of the challenges ahead. The air grew colder as the night deepened, the temperature dropping rapidly in the absence of the sun. She paused occasionally to take a sip of water, her eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of movement. The wasteland, while desolate, was far from empty. Strange creatures and otherworldly flora populated this harsh environment, each adapted to survive in its own way. Taylia made her way further across the desolate landscape, her boots crunching softly against the cracked earth. The eerie silence was only broken by the occasional whisper of the wind and the distant sounds of the nocturnal creatures that inhabited this alien moon. She took a moment to look up from her path, scanning the horizon for any signs of movement. Her eyes narrowed as she spotted a dark figure far ahead of her. She stopped in her tracks, squinting to get a better look. Her hand instinctively moved to the hilt of her sword, fingers gripping it tightly. The figure seemed to be stationary, floating a few inches above the ground. As a light breeze swept through the area, she noticed the fabric of a dark shroud fluttering in the wind. Could this be the metallic ghost the old woman spoke of? Taylia thought to herself, her heart pounding in her chest. She took a few hesitant steps forward, eyes never leaving the mysterious figure. To her growing unease, the dark floating creature began to move closer. Her brow furrowed as she tried to discern more details about the apparition. It was difficult to make out any features in the dim light, but its presence was undeniably menacing. Deciding to test its intentions, Taylia began walking forward, but at an angle, hoping to avoid a direct confrontation. However, the dark figure mirrored her movements, maintaining its distance but clearly tracking her. She stopped and reversed direction, and once again, the creature mirrored her actions perfectly. A cold shiver ran down her spine. Her grip on the sword's hilt tightened as she steeled herself for a potential fight. Taking a deep breath, Taylia slowly began to walk forward, each step measured and deliberate. The figure continued to move towards her, closing the distance between them. As she got closer, she could see the faint glint of metal beneath the dark shroud, confirming her suspicions. This was indeed the metallic ghost. The creature's presence was overwhelming, an aura of malice radiating from its shrouded form. Taylia's muscles tensed, her body ready for combat. She anticipated an attack at any moment, her senses on high alert. "Show yourself," she called out, her voice strong despite the fear gnawing at her insides. The metallic ghost paused, hovering silently in the air. For a moment, it seemed to consider her words. Out of nowhere, a burst of green light erupted from the metallic ghost. The beam, straight and precise, sliced through the darkness like a blade of pure energy, aimed directly at Taylia. In an instant, the beam collided with an invisible force field surrounding her, emitted by the ancient crystal she had attached to her breastplate. The air around the impact point seemed to hum with tension, the force field sparking and crackling as it absorbed the energy. A brilliant green flash illuminated the scene, casting eerie shadows and throwing dust and dirt into the air. Talia's hair whipped around her face, the impact's force rippling through the space around her. The beam of light, distorted and deflected by the force field, ricocheted off into the night, its residual energy dissipating harmlessly. Talia's lips curled into a determined smile. She drew her sword, the metallic ring of the blade echoing through the night. "So it wields the magic of the ancients," she muttered to herself, recognizing the power similar to that wielded by the Grand Emperor Zakdor. The dark entity, undeterred, fired another green beam at her. This time Talia's smile widened. She began to run towards the dark figure, her steps swift and confident. The force field around her pulsed with energy, ready to deflect any further attacks. As she sprinted forward, the entity continued to fire, each beam deflected by the crystal's protective aura. The air crackled with magic, the beams lighting up the night in flashes of green. Taylia moved with agility and purpose, her body a blur as she closed the distance between them. Within moments, Taylia was upon the dark figure. With a powerful leap, she brought her sword down in a sweeping arc, aiming to cleave the creature in two. Without warning, the creature raised its arm and slapped away the attack with unnerving ease. The force of the deflection sent Taylia stumbling back, her teeth gritted in frustration and determination. From under the shroud appeared another 3 metallic arms, each bearing ancient daggers that glinted ominously in the dim light. The first arm then reached under its cloak and returned with a 4th dagger, making the creature appear even more formidable. With great speed and fierce intensity, the creature attacked Taylia, its blades whirling in a deadly dance. Taylia quickly evaded the attacks, her body moving with the agility. She took a leap back in retreat, her mind racing as she tried to formulate a strategy. Shock and fear flashed across her face as the creature's relentless assault continued. She knew that while the crystal on her chest could protect her from the magic of the ancients, it could not shield her from their blades. Another green blast of energy erupted from the creature. The beam hit the force field, but this time, the impact was so strong that it knocked Taylia off her feet. As she struggled to regain her breath, the creature lunged towards her, its blades poised to strike. With a swift roll, Taylia avoided the deadly thrusts, the creature's blades stabbing into the ground where she had just been. She rolled to her feet, her mind and body coiled like a spring, ready to retaliate. Seizing the moment, she took another swing at the creature, her sword aimed to end the battle swiftly. The creature moved, but not quickly enough to avoid Talia's strike. Her sword tore through its cloak, sending the dark fabric flying through the air. As the cloak fluttered away, it revealed the symbol of a long-forgotten empire on its underside. Now revealed from under the cloak was a black-colored robot, old, weathered, and rusting, an artifact from a forgotten era. The robot's body was a patchwork of ancient technology, its joints creaking with age but still deadly and functional. Its eyes glowed with a menacing red light. The robot's design was both utilitarian and menacing, a testament to cold, calculated engineering. Its box-shaped body was divided into two main segments, an upper torso that resembled a broad, armored chest and shoulders, and a smaller, more compact lower section. Embedded in the center of its chest was the imposing barrel of a laser cannon. Beneath this formidable structure, a sphere-shaped mechanism enabled the robot to hover effortlessly above the ground, giving it an eerie, almost ghostly mobility. Extending from the top of its body was a thin, cylindrical appendage serving as a head. A single red glowing light on this cylinder functioned as an eye, scanning with an unsettling, unblinking intensity. From sockets on either side of its torso, 4 slender articulated arms extended outward, with joints encased in protective plating that ensured both flexibility and durability. The robot's entire form exuded an aura of relentless purpose, a mechanical predator designed for efficiency and intimidation. The robot's daggers gleamed as it prepared for another assault. Taylia knew she had to act quickly and decisively. Taylia focused her mind and steadied her breath. She needed to find a way to disable the robot before it could overwhelm her. With a battle cry, Taylia lunged forward, her sword aimed at the robot's joints. She knew that if she could disable its limbs, she could render it helpless. The robot countered with lightning-fast strikes, but Taylia's reflexes kept her just out of reach of its deadly blades. Another blast erupted from the robot's chest, a green beam of ancient magic aimed directly at Taylia. She flinched as the blast collided with the force field emitted by her crystal. The impact illuminated the desolate landscape, casting eerie shadows across the rocky terrain. Taylia staggered back, the force of the blast causing her to lose her footing for a moment. Sensing an opportunity, the robot lunged forward, its daggers poised for a lethal strike. One of the blades sliced into Taylia's shoulder, drawing blood and causing her to stagger further back. Pain seared through her, but she gritted her teeth, keeping her sword raised defensively. She remembered what she had taken from the compartment on her star chariot, 2 magic rods she had purchased from a trader on the planet Duskin. These rods, when activated and thrown at any ancient robotic adversary, would render them motionless for exactly 3 seconds. It was a risky move, but it was her best chance. The robot lunged at her again, its multiple blades swinging with deadly precision. Taylia blocked some of the attacks with her sword, the clash of metal against metal sending sparks flying. She strategically jumped back, reaching for one of the rods on her belt. With a swift motion, she ripped the rod free and pressed the button at the end with her thumb. As the robot began its next attack, Taylia threw the rod with all her strength. The rod bounced off the robot's chest before emitting a bright energy field. For a few seconds, all sound was absorbed by the field, and the robot stopped in its tracks, frozen in time as the energy field hummed around it. Knowing she had only a brief window of time, Taylia rushed towards the immobilized robot. With a powerful swing, she brought her sword down on the robot's right arms, smashing through the metal one by one. Sparks flew and bits of metal scattered as her blade severed the mechanical limbs. The robot's glowing red eyes flickered, as if it could feel the pain of the damage. The force field around Taylia soon failed, flickering out as the robot continued its relentless offensive. With its remaining 2 arms, the robot attacked with a renewed fury. Taylia dodged the strikes, finding it slightly easier to maneuver now that the robot was less balanced with only 2 arms. Their battle raged on, the clash of metal against metal echoing through the desolate landscape. Taylia's muscles burned with exertion, her movements becoming more precise and determined as she sought an opening. She feinted left, drawing the robot's attack, then swiftly moved behind it. With a powerful swing, she brought her sword down through the robot's back, exposing a glowing green power crystal embedded within its core. The robot turned quickly, trying to face her, but Taylia was faster. She brought her blade down again, this time slicing through the center of the robot. Sparks flew as her sword cut through metal and circuitry, the robot's chest cannon lighting up as if to fire another blast. But before it could, the glow died, and its red eyes began to blink erratically before fading out completely. With a final shudder, the robot crashed to the ground, lifeless and defeated. Taylia wiped the sweat from her brow, her body aching from the intense battle. She sheathed her sword and took a moment to catch her breath, her mind racing with the implications of what she had just faced. She grabbed her shoulder as the pain from her wound finally registered, the cut deep and throbbing. Looking down at the fallen robot, Taylia couldn't help but feel a mixture of triumph and curiosity. She kicked the robot over and knelt down to inspect the green power crystal embedded in its back. "Well, that looks like it will fetch a fine payout when I arrive," she said to herself, a small smile playing on her lips. The temperature dropped further, the cold biting at her skin. She glanced at the robot's discarded cloak, rising to her feet and walking over to pick it up from the ground. Wrapping it around herself, she felt a small measure of relief from the biting cold. It was tattered and worn, but it provided some warmth. With a determined sigh, Taylia walked back to the robot and grabbed it by the arm. She began to drag it behind her as she continued on her way back to the colony. And with that, true champions of the cause, our story has come to an end. I thank you for spending this time with us, and I look forward to seeing you again. Let your thoughts on the story be known in the comments. I truly look forward to reading them. So, until next time, please like, comment, and subscribe. And until our paths cross again, I have been your host, Arius Vallo. See you in the shadows, my love.